What's up, y'all? Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday night, episode 115 in the Century Zone now and continuing on. This is your host, Graham Powell, co host Bradley Brown over there on the other screen. Say what's up, Brad.
What's happening?
Lots of stuff going on. A lot of stuff happened the day after our podcast last week. So we got a lot of catching up to do. First, quick shout out to our sponsor, Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience, track it with your fitness app of choice, screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section for t shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at Shoebooty Sports. I did see something about Google Podcasts going away here eventually, and it'll be turned into like YouTube Music or something. So we'll keep y'all updated on that. But in the meantime, let's get to the show. Day after our show last week, some pretty big news in the college football world. Nick Saban announces his retirement. I mean, whoa,
Yeah.
it's just a pretty big bomb there. And I mean, heck, I don't know how much longer it was. A few days later, it felt like Kalen DeBoer was hired as the new coach of Alabama. What do you think of that hire, by the way? I think it's an A+ hire.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the guy's done nothing but win everywhere he's been. So I, I don't know. I'm sure it's an A+ hire, but we'll see.
We will see. And anyone questioning the timing of it, you want to keep those recruits. You want to keep them from decommitting. They already had. You saw when Saban announced
Yeah.
his retirement that day. Whatever 5-star recruit receiver, like number 9 overall in his class, something like that, decommitted right away. So in order to, keep the floodgates from opening up and it being transfer portal, you know, times 100 there in Tuscaloosa, go ahead and get your hire out of the way or target your guy, hire him. They did that. It sounds like they got their guy. Like they got the guy that they wanted. Yeah, I think it's a good hire. Nick Saban, I mean, the GOAT. I mean, what else can we really say? Is there more that we can really add to that? He's the best college football coach ever. You could maybe argue he's the best football coach ever.
Yeah. I
So,
think that's a pretty good argument. So
yeah, you could certainly make that argument, and I wouldn't argue with you. So yeah, Saban retires as Razorback fans. Hey, I don't know if it matters who's the Alabama right now. I don't know if that Arkansas football team is going to beat Alabama anytime soon, but
now
certainly not while Nick Saban is there. Saban, how many years was he at Alabama? 17.
17-0 against the Razorbacks.
17-0 against Arkansas as the Alabama head football coach. He did lose some when he was at LSU, but not many. Yeah, 17-0 against the Hogs. It's against the Razorbacks. So people say, big deal, right? But still, I mean, there were some good teams. I mean, especially the one year Arkansas should have had them in 2006.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Saban found a way to pull it off. Okay, so Saban retires. Kalen DeBoer hired. All right. And also, Bill Belichick took a little bit of time. I didn't necessarily think it would come that Monday following the end of the NFL regular season, but Bill Belichick and the Patriots parting ways. Pete Carroll no longer the coach of the Seahawks. He's moved into a front office role. That's essentially their way of saying, well, we don't want to fire you. You've won a Super Bowl here. You got to another. Same thing with Belichick. We're parting ways. Uh, Pete Carroll moved to a front office position. Both guys sound like they want to keep coaching.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll definitely did a week or so ago, saying he feels good, all that. Yeah, Belichick though for sure. He's already interviewed with the Falcons. I'm a little surprised that it's that team, that he's interviewing with.
He did say he wanted a project team. That'd be a pretty big project down there in
Uh,
Atlanta.
that's quite the project. I think Belichick needs to go to a situation where there's a GM that knows how to draft and build a team, and Bill can just coach them.
Yeah.
Bill's shown that in recent years, especially in the last decade, he can't draft. He can't evaluate players in the draft. That those New England teams just steadily just kept losing talent. I mean, can you name other than Edelman? Can you name another receiver that was on that Patriots Super Bowl team that beat the Falcons in overtime? Wasn't it like didn't Brady complete like a long pass to a Chris Hogan?
Yeah, Hogan was on there.
Yeah, I'm surprised I remember that. I would only know that just because he was on that Super Bowl team. I mean, he's not in the league. He didn't go anywhere else and do damage.
No,
It's just I don't know. I think the Atlanta interview is a head scratcher for me. I think if you're
I don't see it
Belichick,
happening.
no, I think if you're Belichick, you need to go to a team that just needs coaching. Just needs coaching. Have a GM there that knows what they're doing, knows how to build a team, and just needs a coach. I'd say I'd say the Dallas job might be coming open soon, but they don't have a GM there to me that
No,
knows what they're doing. Now that Dallas defense is good. They weren't good Sunday, whatever it was. Man, the Packers lit them up, but we're going to get to that in a bit. Yeah, where do you see Belichick ending up if you just had to guess?
ooh,
Where is he coaching this
uh,
time next year? Hot take. Hot take time. Hot take means it's not necessarily going to happen. This is just a hot take. So
I see Dallas throwing the most money at him.
you see that, like people would keep saying that, like, oh, if that Dallas job comes open, Belichick's going to jump on it. You see Bill Belichick taking orders from Jerry Jones.
No,
Yeah, I don't see that working. I'm sure Jerry's, would be all sorts of excited about it and just about making that hire, but I don't see that working with Bill Belichick. An owner that goes out of his way to do interviews and be out in the open, and Bill Belichick, who does everything he can to avoid an interview. I don't necessarily now you could say here talk to Jerry, right? Well, here he'll do the media stuff, but Jerry's going to want his piece of the pie. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it. Jerry's going to want to be involved in building the team. Of course, Bill has shown he can't do that recently, so I don't know. Maybe it
hey,
can work, but I don't necessarily see it meshing. It's still oil and water to me.
yeah,
So I don't necessarily see the Falcons either.
Carolina.
I wouldn't want to take that. Now that's a project. That's certainly
That's
a
a
project
project.
team.
Yeah,
I would rather take over the Falcons than the Panthers right now, especially with that owner. You want to talk about Jerry Jones being a guy you don't necessarily want to take orders from, but I mean, Jerry has at least built a playoff team,
yeah.
and there are pieces there to get excited about. There's nothing to get excited about in Carolina. The owner's going to want to make the picks, and it's not a good team, and the owner is as erratic as they come. I mean, he is definitely quick to pull the trigger on firing someone. We've seen that. Fired Frank Reich for essentially for coaching a team that the owner put together, and it's not necessarily been on record, but there's been plenty of whispers that Frank Reich did not want Bryce Young, and we could see why. He preferred Stroud, and we can all see why now.
Yeah.
and then Frank Wright gets fired for it. We don't have to rehash all that. We all know the story. If you don't by now, Google it at this point. I don't see that happening. I could see Belichick being interested in the Washington job. I could see
Yeah, I have seen some stuff on that. That would be interesting.
it's kind of northeast. I could see. I know he wants to stay in that area. It's at least been reported, and he just looks like a northeast coach, doesn't he? I mean, do you see Belichick without the hoodie? Do you see Belichick in like short sleeves and a visor?
Now he's going to be in the hoodie no matter what.
Yeah, he's got to be in the hoodie. He's a northeast guy through and through. He's a northeast football guy. I could see that being a possibility. Washington. I mean, that's not a bad situation. I touched up on that last week talking about the Harbaugh situation, possibly looking at Washington. Of course, he's interviewed with the Chargers, and I do love that. I mean, Harbaugh has shown he wants to or has coached in California on numerous occasions, so that's where he started. Right, I think he started at San Diego University, like not San Diego State, San Diego University, I believe it was, and that's where he started his coaching career. We'll get our guys to fact check on that, but I think that's accurate. But
I'll
yeah,
take your
I
word
would.
on it.
Yeah, I would say Washington is a good candidate. Of course, like I said, hot take time, so who knows? But if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Washington. We will see what happens, though. All right. Like I said, Harbaugh interviewed with the Chargers. Harbaugh and Herbert, I like that combination. We've seen what happens when a good quarterback is exposed to bad coaching. See this example right here. Well, let me phrase it this way: coaching can make all the difference. How did Matt Ryan do with Kyle Shanahan as an offensive coordinator? Just got to a Super Bowl and was the league MVP.
So
Yeah, Justin Herbert with bad coaching, he's been forgettable. It's been a forgettable year. When he got hurt, you didn't even necessarily. It wasn't like it was big news because the Chargers were kind of already out of it, and Herbert wasn't exactly lighting it up anyway. The Chargers just progressively got worse. And how did Jay? Okay, another example. How did Jalen Hurts do last year with Shane Steichen as the Eagles' offensive coordinator? MVP caliber year, almost won the Super Bowl. Almost won the Super Bowl. Uh, Offense coordinator gone. Nick Sirianni in, and Nick Sirianni's been exposed from the looks of things.
big
That
time.
team was lifeless, just completely lifeless. I picked them last week. You did not, and you were
Did
on the
not.
right side of that one. And I could see why. I could tell early. I was like, Tampa Bay is just better. They're just better right now. They have more life. I could tell that 5 minutes into the game. The game would have been over much sooner if Tampa Bay's receivers weren't dropping so many passes. But yeah, Nick Sirianni has shown he can't coach. Essentially, that's what I've seen. You start out 10-1, and then you just, I mean, catapult off the. Things don't go downhill; they catapulted downhill. It That was as disastrous of a bad stretch or into the season that I've seen in a long time.
I can't remember the last time I seen a team fall off like that.
That
Seven
was
of their last eight.
Yeah,
Terrible.
and got blown out. I mean, just got
Yeah.
blown out in this game at Tampa, and that's a 9-8 Bucks team, you know. And Baker's had a good year, and but he was banged up coming into this, but he lit them up. He lit Philly up. The defense couldn't tackle. The offense looked just impotent. Just
Yeah.
couldn't get anything going offensively. Running, throwing. Like I said, defense couldn't tackle. A lot of those touchdowns Baker had were like from broken tackles. That one really long one was just should have been a 5-yard play turned into whatever it was, 60, 70, something like that. Yeah, that's Sirianni back. It's kind of weird.
Probably.
You think so? Especially with that fan base. I mean, that fan base, it matters in Philadelphia. I mean, they send out surveys, to their fans, to their ticket holders every year. The Philly fans, I mean, their opinion matters. People listen to talk radio there. That stuff matters in Philadelphia. I'm not so sure. I would not be surprised if Sirianni's out. In fact, I would say it's probably 60-40. He's gone. You can't be a Super Bowl team, go 10-1, and then collapse like that and expect to have your job back next season. I would not be surprised if he's gone. I'd be interested in, especially with Harbaugh out there.
Yeah. So say go after Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, you think that team's going to look lifeless and essentially quit at the end of the season with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach? Say what you want about Harbaugh, but his teams are physical and they are always ready to play, and they always have a chip on their shoulder. That would be quite a fit in Philadelphia. Harbaugh, that would be a lot of fun. It would be good to see him in San Diego too, or San Diego, um, L.A. with the Chargers. But that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Philly and Harbaugh. I would say it's 60-40. He's gone. Sirianni, that is. What about Mike McCarthy? What do we throw the percentages out there for him retaining his job?
Knowing Jerry, it's probably, yeah, 70-30. He's gone. It's just,
I mean, they look terrible. I mean, they look terrible, just
man,
unprepared. The Eagles look terrible.
at
And
least we
and
don't have to
this
hear any more. Here we go for the rest of the year. So I'm pumped about that.
yeah, it didn't that doesn't annoy me as much as it does some, but it is very unique. Didn't Jordan Love do something like saying, "Here we go," like on the toward the end of the game? I had heard he
I
did
missed
something
it.
like that. How about the Packers, by the way, just drafting stud quarterbacks year after year or decade after decade, essentially at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
I
Looks like they got another one. That dude. He made me lose fantasy football championship, and yeah, and then he went out there and took care of the Cowboys. So he looks good.
Yeah, Jordan. I mean, he threw 30 touchdowns this year, first year as a starter. He didn't look, there were times during the season he struggled.
Yeah.
But first year quarterback, that can happen. Looks like he's gotten it together right now, though, at the right time. So, I mean, shout out to Matt LaFleur and Packers coaching staff. And, I mean, Jordan Love. I mean, getting it done, getting a big playoff win. I mean, one in dominant fashion. As far as McCarthy goes, like I'd say it's probably 60-40. I'll say the same thing. 60-40, he's gone. It's weird to say that you go 12-5 or whatever it was. But to get blown out like that, especially knowing Jerry like we do and we've seen over the years, I would not be surprised if a coaching change is coming
That
for
game
the
was
Eagles
over
and
midway through
Cowboys.
the second quarter, man. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't even a good game.
no.
We had some really good games. That wasn't one of them. Okay, so I picked the Browns to beat the Texans. You did too, right?
Yeah, I did. I did. And man, were we wrong.
Yes, and I'm as big of a CJ Stroud fan as there can be.
Yeah.
Love CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I just thought, just getting to the playoffs was enough. It was enough to say it's been a very successful year for the Texans. To go from as bad as you were a year ago to getting to the playoffs, I think it was huge. And having the rookie of the year, what looks like the franchise for the next at least decade, I'd say successful season. But to then go get a playoff win at Cleveland against the Browns, against that defense, and Stroud just lit them up. I mean, just looked like the absolute stud that you and I both know he is. And
Yeah.
dominant fashion. And Flacco was very Flacco, 2 pick sixes.
Those 2 pick sixes, man, just ooh,
Yeah.
it was
And
over.
well, and here's the thing, I didn't see the first half of the game. I went to Lone Oak. I had taken my lawnmower to Lone Oak to get it like put away for this snowstorm we had coming because I was like, I'm not using it again until spring. It's out in the open. I got like a tarp cover thing for it, but I was like, no, let's get it put away, with all this winter weather we got on the way. And so I get it put up. So it's a process, right? I got to go to Lone Oak, get a truck. I got to come to Cabot, get everything. And then I got to go back to Lone Oak, put it up. By this time, it's the second half, of that game. Otherwise, I would have been sitting in the recliner in there and watching.
Yeah,
And sure enough, at my grandma's, TV turns on or game gets flipped to that. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, holy cow. Like I was surprised. I was very surprised seeing the score. But then as I sit here and talk about it with you, should we be? I mean, Stroud being CJ Stroud and Flacco, knowing what we've seen from him all season, his tendency to throw it to the other team. He'll make plays, but he'll make, head scratching plays too.
yeah,
And like we say that about Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He'll make up for it on the very next play with a 70-yard bomb. Joe Flacco's not going to do that. He's not going to come back from a lot of those mistakes.
yeah. He's not gonna rip off a 54-yard TD run or anything.
Yes, we'll get to that too. But as I sit here and spell it out with you, I can't say I'm that surprised at the outcome. Had you told me beforehand, I would have been like, wow, the CJ Stroud story continues. The legend continues to grow.
Yeah,
But still, I don't know, it's I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, but then again I am. For the
yeah.
Texans to just completely 180 it like this, pretty impressive.
Did you did you see the photo circulating around the internet with Watson looking towards Stroud like in pure disgust?
I did see
Just
that. Is that what it was? I mean, that wasn't like doctored or anything like that.
I
That
don't
was an
think it was
actual thing.
doctored or anything. That was after the game. Like, yeah, and I also seen where they're saying that Stroud's touch is so good that Watson wants a massage from him.
I did see that. I did see something along those lines, and I did see the photo you're talking about. Um, I guess I would be annoyed too, but I don't know about to that level of disgust. At the end of the day, you still have $230 million in the bank, even if you don't play
True.
another down.
And yeah, hadn't done anything, nothing.
No, but to sit there and see this rookie just come in and light it up and steal the show as you've been sitting the sidelines and really didn't do much while you were in the game or out there on the field all season. Yeah, I could see why you'd be a little bitter about it, but that's not CJ Stroud's fault.
Nope.
Um, that's the injuries aren't his fault, but he just hasn't. He's not the same player anymore, and it's sad to see in a sense. But then again, you're not going to have a lot of people feeling sorry for you. Deshaun Watson, that is. All right, enough with that. Let's move on. Chiefs thump the Dolphins. Chiefs thumped the Dolphins. Mahomes cracked his helmet, and it wasn't like a devastating, like collision. That's just how
No.
cold it was. That's how cold it was. Like it just made, I guess, the helmet that more susceptible to cracking, and boy, did it. I mean, just chipped the whole piece off. That was pretty wild to see. Watching it live before anybody even said anything about it, I was like, his helmet's broken. Like something happened there. And he's acting like it's nothing. It's like it reminded me of Terminator, when he's getting like in these massive fights with another Terminator, T-1000, TX, whatever, and the third one was. And, like half his face is missing or the actual skin part's gone. You see the underneath the robot, cyborg, whatever it is. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Just but it was just an interesting visual. But the Chiefs looked like the Chiefs. Like
Yeah.
we've had concerns about them all year. There weren't any concerns Saturday. I mean, the Chiefs looked playoff ready. The cold had no effect on them. Kelsey had a few drops, but still had pretty good numbers. Rashee Rice stood out. Rashee Rice has become the player that I thought he became in that game the player I thought he could be all season. I was like, this is the guy. This is going to be the next guy. Like the guy that's gonna he's gonna he's not gonna be Tyreek Hill, but he's gonna play that role. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna be the number one receiver
Yeah.
if we're not counting Kelsey. And he had that kind of game. He had that kind of game Saturday, and yeah, surely he's just going to build from there. I mean, Mahomes has had to have, gained a little trust with him there. It's going to be a much tougher test though. Is it Saturday or Sunday they play? This Saturday,
I
Sunday.
believe it's Sunday.
Okay. But yeah, Chiefs, I'm really looking forward to that one. Chiefs looked like the Chiefs, so that was good to see. All right, let's go ahead and talk about that one. They're at Buffalo this time, not at Kansas City, so
Yeah.
they're not playing a playoff game at Arrowhead. Going to be at Buffalo. Those fans are going to be wild. I even heard a story today. You know how the Bills are constructing a new stadium, right?
Yeah.
There a fan apparently fell into like a pit, like a hole that or a pit in the construction area. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right, but kind of probably know where this is going. Okay, so and after this happened, after I don't know something about it after it happening, the Bills started going on this winning streak because they turned things around. They went from like 6-6 or whatever to a playoff team and as hot of a team as there is in the league right now. And ever since then, every week, the Bills fans have sacrificed a fan by like them falling into the pit, dropping themselves, being thrown. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I just heard it, somebody telling me about it. And I was like, I love Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me the least bit. You know those fans are going to be absolutely nuts this weekend. I very much look forward to that one. I'm going to watch every game this weekend. I'm going to make it a point to watch every game this weekend, barring something happens, wild. But I love these matchups, and we're gonna do so. Okay, let's put the pause button on that. Let's do some more recap on this past weekend's games. All right, we both whiffed on the Rams pick, but I'm not surprised at all.
I'm glad it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pulling for the Lions. I tweeted that I really want this for the Lions. And how could you not? Like seeing that atmosphere and just knowing the history of the Lions, how they've have embraced this team, embraced Jared Goff, Dan Campbell. How could you not love Dan Campbell? I mean, if you're a football guy or gal, you got to love Dan Campbell. And to see them get their first playoff win since 1991, 1991. I was telling my niece this last night. I was like, guess how old I was at
Yeah.
this time in 1991. Well, her response was, I don't know, 14. That was her response.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, thanks, Haley. I was 6, but yeah, she said, I don't know, 14. Yeah, 1991, last time the Lions got a playoff win.
Wrapping it up in kindergarten. Yeah. That's where we're at.
Yes, but to have it against Stafford, like your old quarterback and the Rams, like that's some Hollywood stuff I don't know, man. You can't even make that up, really. I mean, that's just you could, but it's almost like not believable. You know what I mean? Like that's storybook stuff. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Great game, by the way. And I mean, Stafford played lights out. Stafford made throws. It was, I mean, it's very Mahomes esque, and Stafford's
Yeah.
been doing it. He did that. He's done stuff like that before Mahomes. It's just Mahomes made it famous, right?
Mm.
But Stafford's no look passing it. He had like an under.
The no look sidearm, yeah, that
So
one
he
was.
he had like,
It's like a
how you like
submarine.
you flip, yeah, you flip it under, and he
Yeah,
did that a play, and it was a perfect spiral. Like
yeah.
it
I
was
thought my TV
unbelievable.
glitched. Like, what happened?
I think I was on the phone, and I did something like, "Oh my, I can't believe he just did that." And they're like, "What?" And I described it. I was like, "I can't believe that really happened."
It looked
Uh,
like whenever you hit the wrong button for the receiver on Madden, just like shoots off the wrong way. Like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
and it was a perfect spiral, and it was on target. I mean, it was a perfect pass. Stafford did that all game. Stafford had an amazing season, especially
Yeah,
toward the end. I mean, played lights out. Detroit was just a little bit better. I love the aggression down the stretch, putting it in Goff's hands and winning it that way, not running the ball and then punting. Like,
yeah.
no, let's go get this first down in very Dan Campbell fashion. Loved it. Love to see the Lions get the win. Love that they're moving on and hosting another playoff game this weekend against Tampa Bay. So, all right. So fun to see. Like we touched up on the Bills. Bills blew by the Steelers. No surprise there, right?
No,
The Steelers looked like the Steelers. I mean, they were tough. They were gamers about it, right? I mean, they came into it slow start. Offense looked inept, but they made it competitive down the stretch. But the Bills still held them off, took care of business. Josh Allen's whatever, 55-yard touchdown run.
yeah, it was something like that, something stupid.
Yeah, stuff that only Josh Allen's gonna do. Like you're only gonna see that from Josh Allen. Uh, I heard this comparison. He does like Cam Newton runs, but he throws like Elway. And you want to talk about a dangerous combination? Can you get more dangerous of a combination than that?
Not none that I can think of.
No, exactly. Uh, Mike Tomlin apparently told his team today, I believe it was, he will return as the coach in 2024. He said this to his players. What did you think of the way he handled the press conference when
Loved it.
the reporter asked a question about his future?
Loved it. Ain't got time for that.
I mean, it's a fair question. It's a fair question from the reporter. Of course, being having some reporter bias from me is a fair question. It's something like people want to know.
Yeah.
But it was funny that he just got up and left. I mean, I was admittedly humored by it. But Tomlin will be back. They just need a quarterback. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. They got everything else. Just need a quarterback. That's easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. If I'm them, I'm looking into trying to make a trade for one of these guys. Maybe a Jaden Daniels. I don't know, but I don't know that I don't know that the front office is going to be, or at least everyone upstairs, the Roonies and all that, are going to be quite ready to give up on Kenny Pickett yet, considering he is a Pitt guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out, but this is a really good quarterback class. If you got a chance to move up and get one of those guys, like I said, a Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, they're going to be gone, But I don't know, maybe try to make a move for a Jaden Daniels or somebody's going to be there. I mean, there's going to be a player there. I Pittsburgh's got to find a quarterback. That's all they're missing. Okay, how about Tampa Bay? All right, let's talk about this a little bit more. Tampa Bay blowing out the Eagles. Well, how do you feel about Baker Mayfield? Are you happy for him? If he's full on got his swagger back, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm very very happy for him. I mean, you can't root against the guy.
You we like him, but he's that guy. You're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love seeing chip on your. This is who he is. I love seeing chip on your shoulder. Baker Mayfield. He's got that's his edge. That's it. I mean, Tom Brady had his edge. Michael Jordan had his edge. I mean, he made an enemy out of you. He'd take anything, any little thing he said, and find a way to turn it into turn it into a strength for him. I'm going to
Yeah.
use this to my advantage.
Anything
Uh,
for bulletin board material.
yeah, and Baker, this is just how he plays. I mean, if you want the best of Baker Mayfield, this is what you're going to get. I loved it, and considering how his career's gone, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Happy for that team. I don't see them getting a win this weekend, so we'll go ahead and make our picks there. But still, I mean, I think that's awesome for Baker Mayfield. What do you think of it as a fair number for him contract wise? Like, what do you offer him? Because he's in a contract year. Do you make him the franchise at least for like the next 4 years? And if so, what are you paying him?
How old is he? Was he
I'll say
20?
this. If I'm the front office there at Tampa Bay, I'm saying 4 years. I'll give you a 4 year, I don't know, $100 deal, 25 mil a
Deal.
year, or $100 million deal. Yeah, 4 years,
Yeah.
100 million, 20, see if he'll get 25 mil a year. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair offer. And yeah, he could play hardball, but I think he really likes the situation. I don't know that he's going to do that. All right. So let's get to it. Let's make our picks before we get out of here. All right. Houston at Baltimore. Who you got?
Baltimore.
Same here. Love CJ Stroud and his story, but I think the
Yep.
story ends there. Saturday game's the first game, 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Game after that, we've got Green Bay at San Francisco.
49ers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. 49ers. I think it's like a 9.5 point is the spread. I wouldn't. Green Bay could possibly come within that, but either way,
Yeah.
I got San Fran. Okay, and then the Sunday matchups. Got Tampa Bay at Detroit at 2 p.m. I got Detroit. I got Detroit in a close one. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Same for you.
Yeah.
All
I think
right.
it'll be a
Here's
close one.
and here's the last one. The and this is the Brady, the Manning Brady versus Manning of this generation. Mahomes
Yeah.
and Josh Allen.
Mahomes' first road playoff game.
Yeah, and boy, we are all going to be tuning in. Who you got? Let's end the show here.
I've got the Bills finally pulling it off.
I'm 50-50 down the middle with it. I really like Buffalo. I like this Buffalo team. The fact that they have a running game now, but as much as I love Buffalo, Patrick Mahomes is still him. I cannot bet against him. I wouldn't bet against Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match, and I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. I got Chiefs. So Chiefs, you got the Bills. We'll see what happens. Till then, we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all next week. This is Grandpal.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.